All right. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may be calling in from. It's 9 o'clock on the machine and on both of my mobile devices, so something is right in the universe today. We are going to give it a minute or so for some folks to roll in. We've already got almost 200 people on the line, and we're going to give folks a few more seconds here to roll in as we get things started. Um, I think we may have a note in the chat for you if you're so inclined. Feel free to drop in your name and your the city you're calling in from to the chat tray, and we'll read off some of your names and cities to the audience here. So thanks for joining us from wherever in the world you may be. We've got people calling in from Europe. Okay, so we've got folks calling in from Vienna. We've got folks calling in from San Francisco. I see Philadelphia. I see South America. Okay, so we've got some folks calling in from Colombia. Fantastic. Great. Well, let's see. Have we hit 200 people yet? I still see folks rolling in. We're almost at 250. But I think we ought to get started in the interest of time because we do have a full slate for you here today. So Andy, Sylvia, if y'all are ready, then why don't we get started? And we'll start with some introductions. So first and foremost, I'll go. My name's Bo Rick. I am the business development manager for ArcGIS here at ArcGIS Indoors here at Esri on our Smart Cities team. And I'm joined by my colleagues, Andy and Sylvia. Andy, you want to give yourself a quick intro?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Andy Stewart. I work as a solution engineer on the Smart Cities team. Commonly work with Bill a lot, and here to help show the demonstrations for ArcGIS Indoors today. I've come from a facilities background originally from my university over on the East Coast, over in Philadelphia, and taking my experience to bring it over into Esri and show you guys the latest, greatest capabilities that Indoors can provide with facilities management and asset management. So happy to be here today. I'll pass it over to Sylvia.
Awesome.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, hi, everybody. So I have a background in marketing and East Asian studies, which is probably a little bit atypical, but a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to join our team here in Vienna in Austria, where we specialize in indoor positioning. And quite recently, or actually it was already 2 years ago, our company was acquired by Esri. So now we are the Esri Vienna R&D Center, and I work on the product marketing for ArcGIS Indoors and our upcoming indoor positioning product.
Awesome. Thanks, Sylvia. Yes, and welcome to the family. It's great to have the whole family together. As far as logistics for the webinar go, it will be recorded. So if you'd like, there'll be a poll question later on in terms of follow-ups, and you can let us know if you want to receive a follow-up with the recording of the webinar. You can also post questions in the question panel throughout. So it is going to be a pretty interactive webinar here today. If you have questions that come up throughout, please feel free to drop them in the question panel, and the questions that you drop in there will be the ones we answer first when we get to the live Q&A section. And with that, we are going to get into our first poll. So at this point, we have over 250 folks on the line, and we're looking to understand how familiar you all are with ArcGIS Indoors already. So if you're already familiar with ArcGIS Indoors, yes, awesome, great. If you're not, you aren't yet, but you will be by the end of this webinar. So we have a whole host of capabilities that we're going to share with you. We are going to do a quick review. So if you're already familiar with Indoors, may seem somewhat familiar, but we won't bore you with all the details. We're going to get right into what's new about Indoors. And if you're interested, we can always set up a follow-up demonstration to show you kind of the breadth and depth of all of the capabilities indoors can bring to the table. So Sylvia, I think you have a poll open, right?
Yeah, and I think everybody who wanted to vote already voted, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results.
Awesome.
Actually pretty balanced. 56% say they're already familiar with indoors, which is awesome. Thanks for participating, and I'll hand it back over to you both.
Yes, fantastic. Okay, so for those of you that are already familiar with indoors, that's great. We are going to share some amazing new capabilities with you here today. For those of you who aren't, we are going to start with a quick review, just a very short, quick review on what the big deal with indoors is, and then get into those latest and greatest capabilities. We also have a coming soon section, so we're going to show you some of the stuff that's coming up and some of the very near-term releases, and we'll do a live Q&A. And with that, we will start the indoors review where all good stories about digital transformation start. Facilities data. And currently, facilities teams are leveraging numerous systems to store and use data across different workflows. Their IWMS stores data for facilities operations. Their CMMS stores data for capital facilities information. Their service management platforms store data about internal services. And these systems are probably storing thousands of records each that can be a big pain to sort through, use, and maintain. And this has a real cost associated with the lack of interoperability in these data silos that prevent users from easily discovering and sharing records as needed. In a relatively old, but still to this day, groundbreaking study that has been cited numerous times, the National Institute of Standards and Technology estimated that owner-operators lose about 23 cents per square foot throughout the operations and maintenance lifecycle of their facilities due to this lack of data interoperability throughout that O&M lifecycle. It's totaled across the three categories of avoidance, mitigation, and delay. But the largest cost is typically in mitigation, where extensive data reentry, validation, and recreation are required to make it useful. And this is really the big problem we're trying to help organizations solve, is bring all this data out of its silos into an interface where users can find and share that data and then drive them back to their respective systems of record. And so with that, we have another quick poll for you. We talked about a few systems that organizations are typically using. We want to understand from your perspective what your organization is using for facilities management. Maybe you're just using CAD spreadsheets and clipboards, and in that case, you're right along with the 66% of other organizations in the world that are still dependent on those. Maybe you've invested in an IWMS or a CMMS. Or some other facilities management platform. Go ahead, let us know what you're using, select all that apply, and we will see the results here in a second.
Yes, so the poll is open and people are still voting, so I'm going to give it a couple more seconds.
Cool, cool. Yeah, we have, at this point, we're up to almost 300 attendees live, so I'm sure you can give them a minute or two to respond.
All right, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and close the question, close the poll, and share the results with everybody. And I think we have a clear winner here. So most people, like 88% say they're working with CAD spreadsheets and clipboards, and around 20% are also working with CMMS and service management, and a little fewer people also working with IWMS and PSIM. Thanks for participating.
Fantastic.
And hand it back over to you, Bill.
Yes, thank you, Sylvia. And that's fantastic, and it definitely matches our experience. So don't worry, you're not alone. but we can help you with some solutions for managing your facilities and kind of modernizing the way you're managing your facilities. What we've seen is that a lot of smart building managers are actually using ArcGIS Indoors to create and integrate indoor maps with new and existing facilities management apps. So that users can easily discover and securely share facilities records across stakeholders and workflows, improve communication, and enable better collaboration on facilities projects like maintenance or space moves or security operations or more. And ultimately, they do this to save time and money that's otherwise lost managing facilities with that lack of interoperable data. So let's quickly review the components of the ArcGIS Indoors system. And we'll start in the order that we're going to actually share the enhancements with for you today. We'll start with Indoors Mobile, which is the native mobile application for finding facilities data and using facilities maps in the field. Our second set of demonstrations are going to focus on the second component, Indoors Viewer, which is the browser-based web app for discovering and sharing facilities information, enabling users a way to sit down at their laptop and interface with all of the facilities information through a map. And then finally, we'll wrap up with Indoors Space Planner, which can be used to create space plans, make space moves, create office hotels, and share new space plans. And there are a whole host of highlights that maybe you all haven't heard of with ArcGIS Indoors. I'll start with one of the phenomenal use cases that has recently emerged, leveraging ArcGIS Indoors for vertical assets. And so you'll see here an amazing user story from one of our users, Andrew Hayes, who's a technology supervisor at Raleigh Water at the city of Raleigh. And you see the beautiful model of this Indoors information model actually integrated with this photorealistic model of some of their plants. And you can see his quote says that they want to use Indoors to provide a solution to standardize how they manage assets across their organization within their vertical asset management program. So congratulations to Andrew and his team on all their hard work. If you see him, if you know him, send him your congratulations. And thanks again for your hard work, Andrew. Next, we also have been working, you'll see here, this is actually an image from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport's implementation of all of their terminals mapped in Indoors. And we're zoomed pretty far out because they have so many terminals and so many assets within these facilities that they're trying to manage, that the Indoors actually enables them to have that interface into all these different systems that they're using for the management of those facilities. And this is another great user story. They're the second busiest airport in the world. So really excited to have them on board. And again, congratulations for all your hard work. Another highlight, which is kind of more on the technical side, but maybe relevant for some of you that are interested in learning more about sort of some of the data management capabilities that Indoors offers. It kind of flew under the radar because of the holidays in December, but in late December, a release of ArcGIS Pro actually enabled the conversion of Revit floor plans into indoor maps. And Andy Stewart, who's our solution engineer on our team, actually wrote up a phenomenal blog that covers how to actually convert that data. He paired it with a beautiful demonstration and also some instructions on how to actually evaluate whether your Revit data is in good condition for conversion. So all the literature and the demonstrations all in one place. And I think Sylvia, keep an eye on the chat tray, because I think Sylvia is actually dropping links to these resources in the chat tray throughout the session. Now, what we are all gathered here for, we want to see those demonstrations. So Andy, I think you are going to get us kicked off with Indoors Mobile. I will turn the screen sharing over to you, and let's get started.
Awesome. Let me know when my screen comes through.
Yes, we are seeing it, and we are seeing Indoors Mobile, and the latest version of Indoors Mobile is 1.6. We've seen some enhancements to it. The enhancements we're going to start with here today are around office hoteling. So I think many of you all are probably experiencing this. A lot of organizations are moving to flexible seating arrangements. Now more than ever, they're evaluating how to support these flexible seating arrangements because they've realized that flexible scheduling can work and it can help them drive down the costs of space. They can tap into new talent pools. They can enable a productive workforce, all with a managed flexible seating arrangement. So Andy, can you show us what office hoteling and Indoors Mobile looks like?
For sure, thanks, Bo. So let's kick off the first demonstration with the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application and leverage our Office Hotels button for discovering flexible workspaces. By clicking on the Office Hotel button, we'll be able to pull up a set of parameters to fill in the necessary means to finding reservable space. For example, we can set a check-in and check-out date for the time that we want to be able to sit at this desk. Additionally, we can choose the space type that we want to sit at. For example, we can choose Office Cubicle. And then additionally, we can choose the area that we want to sit at, so Marketing Hotel for this example. As soon as I click Done, we'll have a list of those desks that are readily available for me to sit at on April 13th all day. I'll go ahead and select the very first one. We can see its exact location on the ArcGIS Indoors maps. Additionally, we can go ahead and book this office hotel. By confirming the request, it will come into my Outlook calendar. Coming to my Outlook calendar, I'll scroll over to the date that I have set for that event that's taking place. And here we can see the event that's taking place at the very top for all day. I'll go ahead and select it. Here we can see the event for all day. And additionally, we have a hyperlink to take me to the exact location of the event that's taking place, just in case I did close out the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application, or I'm not able to find it. I can come into my Outlook calendar and find its exact location by clicking on that hyperlink. And as easy as that, we're able to book an office hotel to meet flexible work scheduling.
That's great, Andy, and I almost got bit by the mute monster there. That's awesome. So the latest release of Indoors Mobile provides a simple three-step process for organization to manage an experience for users to book flexible workspace integrated with their Outlook calendars. We are also working on a workspace reservation information model, which will allow you to do that without requiring any integration with any other systems here very soon. But this is awesome because often thinking about reserving space, maybe I want to make sure that I'm in a quiet corner or I'm near conference rooms or I'm not right next to the kitchen where I'm going to be listening to people cooking their lunches all afternoon. So this gives people context for those decisions. And that's fantastic. So thank you for sharing that with us. The next we're going to move into is an enhancement that we had a lot of folks asking for. I never imagined it when I first started working with indoor maps, but support for QR codes. So whether you're an operator or an occupant, you may frequently be looking to actually take facilities data with you out into the field. Maybe you look it up on a kiosk or a colleague shared a link with you through Slack or Teams or some other messaging app that you're using. What you can do is now you can produce a location-based QR code to scan with your mobile device and open up in Indoors Mobile to that same facility's location so it's ready to go out in the field. And it sounds a little more complicated than it probably is. Andy, how about you show us how simple this is?
For sure, Bo. So let's kick off the first scenario with the ArcGIS Indoors kiosk. In this example, we want to see how a visitor can find a specific event that's taking place here on site. By selecting that event, we can see its exact location here on the ArcGIS Indoors maps. Additionally, we can see the time it's taking place and the date it's taking place. We can even find directions to this location. Additionally, like Bo had mentioned, with the release of ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise, we can get the information on our mobile device through our generated QR code.
That's great. So this is for users that are walking up to a kiosk. Maybe they're a visitor who's coming on site for an event and they're just looking to find where events are taking place or where the meeting room they're looking for is. And if they want to take that with them out onto the field, they have that ability.
Yeah, it's really useful, especially if you had your camera on your cell phone. You go ahead and scan that QR code, you'll have it on the go.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And I imagine this is also useful for employees. I mean, I've frequently been looking people up on my laptop, and then when I get into the building across campus, I completely forgot where the map showed that they sat, and I would have loved to have been able to open back up to that same location in my mobile device. Is that something that people are using for it as well?
That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely, Bo. So for example, if we want to search for your own name here in the ArcGIS Indoors web viewer, we can see your exact location on the second floor of Building L. Additionally, you can see its exact location and we can get information over here in the details pane. This will provide relevant details in regarding who Bo Rick is. We can even see his email, his cost center number, his cost center department, even his phone extension number. And additionally, with that capability that I'd shown in the ArcGIS Indoors kiosk, we can get the QR code for the information for our mobile device. So all the information that we see for Bo Rick over here in the informational pane, we can gather in the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application, take down the go, and even find directions to Bo Rick's desk.
That's great. Yeah, I can't wait to go back onto campus and start using this. Okay, so that's visitors and everyday occupants, but I imagine technicians who are planning maintenance or looking up work orders in the back office and going out into the field want to be able to take this data with them out into the field. Is there a way for them to scan a QR code from a work order?
Yeah, absolutely. So another prime reason to use QR codes is to find a work order destination. And one way of doing that is coming into our Explore panel, drilling into work orders, and then finding the subcategory for work orders. We can drill into plumbing, for example, and find where this broken toilet is. By having this information here, we can go ahead and gather what's the details in regarding this work order. Here we can see its status is in progress. We can even see the issue title, and issue description as well. And with the custodian, they're able to get the information on their mobile device very quickly. Here I'll give a little bit of a demonstration showing that capability. With my phone's camera up on the screen, I can go ahead and scan that QR code, and it will take me to the exact location on the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application. Before I can get started, I'll need to authenticate into my organization, so I'll go ahead and do single sign-on just to add that extra layer of security regarding my maps, so only the custodian can access certain maps, or certain individuals that need to access certain maps have security privileges.
Yes, please keep that facility's data secure and the two-factor authentication.
Definitely. So as quickly as that, we'll be able to access the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application, either by clicking on the opening the ArcGIS Indoors mobile app, or we can continue to the web application in the Safari browser if we don't already have the application downloaded to our cell phone. I'll go ahead and continue opening the mobile application just to show that exact location of that work order. Here it's taking me to that restroom, and additionally, if I wanted to, acting as a custodian or say a technician that's on site that needs to go out and fix this work order, we can come into our Explore panel, drill into work orders, find the plumbing work orders, and then we can see by ascending order the closest work order to my location. And for this example here, we can see that broken toilet, that exact location here on the ArcGIS Indoors mobile app map. And additionally, we can see the information regarding this work order. So here we can see the date submitted. We can even see the issue type, issue title, description, due date, and we can see all that pre-populated information for the building in the X and Y and Z values. So as quickly as that, we're able to find the exact location for work orders on the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application. And additionally, if I am a custodian or a technician that's out on the site, sometimes we need to find directions to get to this exact location. Typically, we're not going to be in the vicinity of the work order. So maybe I want to be able to search for that location I'm coming from. So for this example, I'll search for the location, the headquarters building for this example. And then with the pre-populated information, it will generate the headquarters building's route to get me from my current location to that final destination of that work order. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, that's great. And it's actually, I can't tell you how many times I've been to a site and found information on a kiosk as a visitor and just wanted to like pick the kiosk up and take it with me. But this gives us options now. And then, you know, I can imagine as a technician, you have that ability to go out in the field with the same information that you had on your desktop and link back to those systems that are storing all of that tabular data. It actually brings up another topic that is where some of the next enhancements are, because once you're out into the field, you want to actually perform work against them. You want to be able to link back into those systems that you're using. So launch actions are a really important capability of the Indoors mobile app. And you know, they allow you to link data from your Indoors app into your third-party systems for maintenance management or service delivery. So Andy, can you show us what launch actions look like?
For sure. So very quickly, we can use the quick search functionality to find my exact location in the building. Say if I noticed a work order that needs to be addressed, particularly a light bulb that was broken inside my room, I want to be able to create a work order task. And one way of doing that is coming to my related items, finding the unit that I currently sit at, and then having this informational button called work order request. Quickly, I can use that button to launch to a third-party system, a third-party computerized maintenance management system. This could be IBM Maximo, IBM Chariga, ServiceNow, CityWorks, to create these work order requests in our ArcGIS Indoors floorware maps. So that launch action is really important.
That's great, yeah. And you see as Andy's filling out the web form here, this is just survey 123. It could be your CMMS or your IWMS. The important thing is that the location of this record is being passed through or linked into that application. So the XY location, as well as as he kind of pans through the web form, you'll see towards the bottom, the building, the room, and the floor information are all passed through so that you can create this living map of all of the activities that are actually taking place across your facilities to keep the organization running. Whether that data is being stored in a CMMS or an IWMS or some other service management platform, you can use the indoor map as the interface to drill into those different systems for those different activities. So really powerful capability. Thank you for sharing that with us, Andy. And I think the next thing that we want to discuss is actually back in terms of the workspace reservation. We talked about office hoteling, but there's another capability associated with workspace reservations, meeting room reservations, right? So just like office spaces or office hotels, meeting rooms are hot commodities in the workplace. So how about we take a look at a demonstration of reserving a meeting room in the Indoors mobile.
Yeah, let's do it. So now we'll take a look at how we can find a meeting room that's easily going to be configurable to my time parameters and my capacity parameters, and also the participants that I currently want to sit based on where they sit in the building. So for example, if I wanted to select a 2-hour meeting, I can easily do that by just selecting that button. And additionally, I can set when parameters to select when I want this event to take place. So for example, maybe it's a little bit future in the date. I'm going to go ahead and select April 13th for this example. Additionally, we can see that it's already preset to April 13th for the time that it's supposed to end. As soon as I click done, I'll come back to the filters and I can see those desks for those dates and for those times. I'll go ahead and come here to the filters section and select the building that most of my occupants currently sit at. Most of my participants are probably not going to want to have to traverse all the way from one side of campus to the other. So therefore, let's make it easy by finding the proper building that most of my participants are going to be inside. And additionally, if I wanted to, I could set a capacity standard. So especially with returning back to the workplace, we want to make sure that individuals have the right amount of space to sit at. So by having a capacity standard, we could set maybe it to 17 based on having 15 individuals coming into the space, or say 25 for having 20 participants in the meeting. As soon as I apply all those filters, I'll have a list of those meeting spaces that are readily available. I can see that I have one that fits my specifications. Here on the ArcGIS Indoors maps, I can see its exact location, which is highlighted, which is selected here in the ArcGIS Indoors map. And then additionally, if I wanted to, I can go ahead and book this request. So here I'm going to go ahead and type in the meeting invite, And what I'm doing here is it's all powered behind Office 365 to create an event for this location. And additionally, if I wanted to, I can add invitees here on the ArcGIS Indoors application. So say if I wanted to, I can invite Bo for this example. Bo's name's not going to show up right away. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to show up for me to go ahead and select his name. But as soon as it did, I can go ahead and invite him as well, and he'll get an invite through his Outlook calendar. And as simple as that, I'll go ahead and add the event. And now the event that's taking place, I can find it within my schedule button down here at the quick access bar. I can find the specific day that I'm looking for. So for example, if I wanted to, I can come to April 13th. That's when the meeting is taking place, and I can find it here all in my Outlook calendar. What do you think, Bo?
That's great. That's great. I mean, we've all been there, right? Where you know, schedules are hectic and you show up to a meeting room and the folks that have reserved it before you, their meeting's running long, and all of a sudden you're on the hot seat and you've got to call an audible. And so you're looking around, where's the nearest meeting room? Does it fit the amount of people I need? How long is it available for? Now you have all of those capabilities all available through a single interface to find, reserve, and share the location of that new meeting space with your colleagues. So super powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that wraps up the Indoors mobile capabilities. So now we're going to switch to some enhancements to the Indoors web viewer. And the first one is actually just, it's going to be a little bit more technical. It's on the configuration side. So the Indoors viewer, of course, is a configurable app, which is powerful because it actually lets administrators and users configure the maps and the services that appear in the graphical interface, as well as design elements of the interface to meet users' needs and match their organizational branding. So can you share with us what the configurator looks like and maybe what some of the recent enhancements to that are?
For sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the configuration pane over here on the left side. I'm going to focus my attention on here. And with the configuration pane open, I can select a specific web map, a 2D web map that I want to have for my information that we're currently seeing here in the base map. Additionally, I can add a 3D map, 3D scene environment to be able to visualize my floor plans and gain more spatial awareness. And additionally, I can have routing services. So those routing services are really important to take me from one point into another to be able to find and extract the information, how I'm supposed to get to that final destination. So having all that building information is going to be really important to make this application functionable. And then additionally, there's some configurations to be taking place. In addition, we can add a scale bar for context of where those building units are and relevancy to the actual scale bar itself. We can zoom in and zoom out. And then if we wanted to, we can look at turning on the application for iOS through here as well. We can leverage IPS technology to see the blue dot on the map inside the building on our iOS devices. And then additionally, we can turn on the hotel booking button right here. And this is part of that new release of ArcGIS Online and Enterprise that we can actually enable this hoteling functionality here in the Indoors web viewer. Additionally, if we wanted to, we can create launch actions. And earlier I demonstrated launching to Survey 123, but we could very easily do this for other types of asset management and work order management platforms that will create those work orders in the exact location that you just launched the work order to and from. An important capability is having app auto sign out. So this can add that extra level of security in regarding your applications to make sure they're nice and secure if you go away from your desk. And then additionally, if you wanted to, you can set and enable auto reset for the kiosk for another participant to walk up and use it. And then also one of the capabilities I had demonstrated earlier was scanning that QR code, extracting that information and getting the exact location on the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application. That's what's really important to enable this functionality. You can come in here to your configuration app, come to the fourth step, and enable that as well. And this is one of the most important things that I like to demonstrate is having the editability of the panes themselves within the application. So for example, if I wanted to adjust the size of this logo to help with trademarking or to help with branding, I can increase the size, I can drop the size, say if I want it a little bit smaller, less noticeable, I can do that as well. And then additionally, if I wanted to, I can come to my theme section. This will adjust the buttons, it will adjust the color theme throughout the pane itself, and it can even adjust like the buttons over here for the site selector. And that's actually kind of important to note, is that with the latest release of ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise, we have now a site selector. So this allows you to explore different locations that are possibly throughout the globe. And this is what's really important, is being able to have that drop down and select a specific site for your ArcGIS indoors buildings. And then just real quick, I wanted to show this, Bo, is that you can change the color of this pane real quick. So here you can see it changed from that dark shade blue to a lighter shade blue, and that could benefit an organization for changing colors. And then Bo's always telling me this, save my work. I have to save my work.
Yes, yes. Don't forget to save your work. No, that's great. That's great, Andy. Thanks for sharing that. I think that that's just really powerful. I mean, it gives organizations some latitude to when they're, just getting started with indoors, to start delivering some web applications, all while still configuring it to meet their specific end user group's needs. So the maintenance map can configure their viewer with the maintenance maps, and the space teams can have their space maps, and workplace maps for employees, and public maps for visitors, and so on, all while still maintaining that same organizational branding. So that's some of the configuration capabilities. Now, one of the things you pointed out is in the recent release of Online and Enterprise, the Indoors viewer now supports office hoteling. And this is because, of course, users want options, whether they are using their apps on the web or mobile devices. They don't want to lose functionality between them. So this gives users the ability to book workspaces, much like they can in Indoors Mobile in the Indoors viewer. So how about we just show a quick demo of what office hoteling looks like in the web viewer?
Yeah, for sure. So very quickly, we can locate that Office Hotels button over here in my left pane, and it will have a pop-up that I can go ahead and fill in the parameters for the specific location that I want to find. So for example, we can set it for the date that I had set earlier, April 13th, and we can set it for a specific time of the day if we wanted to. So we can set it from 8:30 to 9:30, or we can opt for all day if we wanted to as well for the Office Hotel. And then additionally, if I needed to, I can find a specific space type that I want. So for example, I can choose Office Cubicle, and then the area as well. Say if I'm looking for a specific area that I need to sit at that's been designated for me, Marketing Hotel area looks like a good choice. I'll go ahead and select that. As soon as I fill out those parameters, I'll have a list of those workspaces that are readily available for me to sit at. I can choose one, and then very easily over here we can see the location and the informational pane to provide details regarding the location that I would be sitting at. So here we can see it's an office cubicle. We can see if we wanted to, like other types of information, what's the status on it. And all I have to do is just come up here to book this desk location. As soon as I confirm it, it will appear in my Outlook calendar. And here we can see a little window that prompts me to see that if it's being sent to Outlook, and I should receive an email notification very soon. And that's what's really important about ArcGIS Indoors. It does really allow you to integrate with your Microsoft 365 environments and bring over those types of calendar events to be able to simultaneously have them come through.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Andy. And yeah, again, I think the integration with Office 365 makes it so easy to get started with. But if you don't have Office 365, don't let that deter you. We do have a workspace reservation model coming very soon. So that would be something, if that's something you're interested in, do let us know, and we can share more details on what that looks like. But what this really is powerful for is, employees, maybe, and I do this all the time. I sit down on Sunday evenings and I plan my week ahead. And I might be sitting down planning on my in the web app on my laptop. But then I show up on site on Monday morning, and I don't want to have to, whip out my laptop before I go into the building. I just want to have the same functionality on my mobile app on the go, all to find and reserve my workspaces throughout the course of my week. So great to see that parity between the web and the mobile capabilities. And now, just the final component here is Indoor Space Planner. The latest release enables data rich indoor maps for space planners. And we see it all the time, when organizations are trying to make changes to their space plans, it can be challenging and time consuming for them to have to cross-reference tabular data with their floor plans. And And now the indoor space planner gives the users the ability to retrieve information about the space and the person all through the interactive nature of the indoor map. So, we've talked a lot about workspace reservations, office hoteling. Maybe do you want to show us what this looks like in the context of creating and managing office hotels in the Space Planner app?
Yeah, for sure, Bo. So let's take a look at the ArcGIS Indoor Space Planner. It's used and leveraged for managing accommodations of those flexible workspaces for employees to reserve on days they need to be in the office or the workspace environment. For example, we can find the specific location that we want to designate for those office hotels. For example, we can target the marketing building to see its exact location here on the ArcGIS Indoors mobile, or on the ArcGIS Indoors web, or the ArcGIS Indoors Space Planner application. And then if we wanted to, we can create a new hotel area as well. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and delete this one that we're currently seeing on the map. And as soon as I delete it, I'm going to create a new one and call it marketing hotel area. We're going to set up a new marketing hotel area to provide flexible workspaces for individuals that come into work. So for example, if I needed to, I can assign an individual to a hotel area. First and foremost, we want to come over here to people that maybe aren't assigned to a desk and find those individuals that need to be assigned to a desk or potentially need to be using an office hotel to be able to book on a given time of day. So for this example, we can target the domestic marketing department. We can target someone who's a team lead, a little bit higher up in the company, maybe someone who needs to be able to have a flexible workspace so that they can bounce between other colleagues to help them out. So for this example, we can see an individual here at the very top, Angela Patterson. We can see information over here in the pop-up that provides me context of who she is. Here we can see she's a full-time employee. She's a team lead. She has years of tenure and years of service that match 30 years approximately. And then additionally, I can come over here to properties and I can see her name, her cost center number, her cost center department. I can see her email, even her phone extension. And all this information is really important for any type of HR or space manager needing to use this data on the go. And then if I wanted to, I can assign Angela Patterson to that office hotel. She looks like a great candidate. So I'll go over here to my hotels button, select marketing hotel, and now she'll be managed in that location. So now I can come back to my hotels button and see that she's managed here in this section. Additionally, I want to select desks that follow flexible work scheduling. So I'll come over here to my cursor. I'll select the desk that I want to go ahead and set up for that office hotel. And very simply, I could come here to assign to after selecting them, come into hotel and manage them now in marketing hotel. Very simply is that I have my hotel set up for people, for my building units, and then additionally, I can even see those little infographics at the top that can provide relevancy just quickly on the go if I need to have information regarding this marketing hotel area. And as simply as that, I have the office hotel set up to provide flexible work scheduling for those employees that are going to be coming to work, such as Angela Patterson. So now I'm going to hand it back to you, Bill.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, and of course, I mean, with the rise of flexible scheduling, the need to be able to deliver these flexible seating arrangements and still maximize space utilization is greater than ever. I mean, we are talking with folks every single day trying to figure out how they can leverage these capabilities to help them not only just plan for their return to their offices, but the whole future of their workplace as a whole. So Indoor Space Planner gives organizations a really simple way to create and manage their office hotels while also extending a great user experience for the occupants on the other end to be able to make reservations through those data-driven indoor maps. So thank you for sharing the demonstrations here with us here today, Andy. Now I will switch back over to my slides and we can start to let's first start with just a quick recap and can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's start with what we saw. So in Indoors Mobile, we saw the native mobile application supporting office reservations, QR code scanning, launch actions, and meeting room reservations, all through a single interface. We also saw Indoors Viewer. We saw the ability to configure Indoors Viewer, as well as leverage Indoors Viewer for office reservations through a web application. And we saw Indoor Space Planner and the ability to create those office hotels and move people into different units or office hotels in the Space Planner app. So um, that is just a quick recap of the different components and enhancements we just covered. Now we have a quick poll for you. We want to know which update that you just saw is your favorite update. So did you really like workspace reservations and hotel management? Did you really like QR code scanning and launch actions? Or maybe you're just more on the technical side and you love the ability to kind of configure these applications. Let us know which capability you just saw that's your favorite. And I believe Sylvia has the poll open, so please make sure you're getting your answers in there for her.
Yes, the poll is open.
Awesome. And don't forget the links to the Raleigh water case study and the Revit floor plan conversion blogs are both in the chat tray as well. So if that's something that is of interest to you, don't forget to grab those links before the webinar ends.
All right, Bo, I think we can go ahead and close the poll. I think people have voted. So let me go ahead and share the results. And I think it's a pretty close race. It's pretty balanced. 24% say they really like the workspace reservations, but also 23% like the QR code scanning a lot. And we also have people voting for the app configurations and launch actions, as well as the hotel management. So it's really balanced here.
Pretty even Stevens, okay. Awesome. Well, that's good to see. I mean, it seems like we're definitely meeting the needs of a wide variety of users. So would expect to see some balance across the capabilities and the demand for them. So thank you all for sharing your favorites. And now let's talk a little bit about coming soon. So I believe you can see my screen, and just one last check, thumbs up if you can see it, Andy.
I see coming on. Coming soon.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is an exciting part. So we're going to share with you some updates that are coming soon in Indoors. So the first, we're going to again start with Indoors Mobile. So we're looking at Indoors Mobile. Some really exciting developments here. So very soon you will see the support for new transportation modes in the Indoors Mobile app. So you'll see here an example where this is actually supporting a facility manager who is traveling by vehicle from one building to another on campus, and so they can actually retrieve their travel times through different modes of transportation. And this is really exciting first step towards a whole multimodal navigation support. And you also see support for navigation barriers. So these barriers are dynamic. You can have line barriers, area barriers, point barriers that are data driven. So they can have times associated with them. They can have, for example, this point barrier that's leading into building E can actually have a wait time associated with it. So it could kind of be an indicator of a queue time in a line to enter a facility or things of that nature. So all very exciting developments, things that you could do with ArcGIS previously, but the team productizing it makes it easier and more configurable for you to get done. The next is in the viewer. So very soon, some enhancements to the facilities and floor filter capabilities within the web applications. And it's also available now, or will be available very soon as a JavaScript API widget, which will allow you to build your own custom Indoors apps against the Indoors model. So very exciting developments there. And then also, the last kind of enhancement here is the indoor space planner. So you'll see here some screenshots of the space planner. You saw kind of how you can enhance space moves, but and we're going to continue to enhance those moves to support assigning multiple people to a single space, as well as assigning one person to multiple spaces. So that's pretty exciting. And then the plan lifecycle review. So every time you're making a plan, there are stakeholders involved, and you want to keep them informed of what the changes are, what feedback they have, and who's involved. And this review capability will actually give you the ability to document all of the changes that have been made within this plan. You can see comments from publishers and map creators or plan creators. And you can also see who's been kind of approved to actually review these plans and make comments and make changes. So all this coming very soon in the Space Planner app, and very excited to see what those look like. If you're interested in seeing them, then please feel free to set up a call with us, and we'll show you what these look like. And that kind of leads to our final poll here for this afternoon. We're really curious, how soon you'd like to set up your one-on-one consultation with us, where we can kind of walk you through what exists today, what's coming soon, and get your feedback. So if you'd like to schedule this ASAP, let us know. Next week, after next week, let us know what your preference is. We'll follow up and help you get those meetings scheduled. So I believe the poll is probably open already. Sylvia is expert at making those things happen. So
yeah, people are still voting, so I'll keep it up open a little longer.
No worries, no worries.
Still some votes coming in. I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll. Thanks everybody for voting.
Awesome, thank you, Sylvia. And now let's do some live Q&A. How's that sound?
Great.
And maybe Sylvia, I unfortunately can't see the Q&A, but maybe you can see what's been dropped in the chat and help us get things kicked off.
Yes, sure. So we had a lot of questions coming in. So really thanks everybody for participating and sending us all your questions and showing so much interest. I think we have time for maybe 2 or 3 questions. So I'm gonna get started with the first one. Very interesting question. So somebody wanted to know, if you already have indoors implemented, what steps does it take to enable space planning capabilities and office hoteling?
I can take that one, Bo, if you'd like.
Absolutely, I have at it. I mean, you're the expert. You're constantly managing our environment. So what's it sound like?
For sure. So I think the 4 strongest recommendations in regards to setting up reservable workspaces through office hoteling is, first, make sure resources are set up in Office 365 to manage and create usable emails for booking hotels workspaces. And then make sure that ArcGIS Indoors data is using the latest ArcGIS Indoors Pro layers. And that's what's really going to be important, because it has a necessary schema to be able to use in the ArcGIS Indoors Space Planner application for setting up office hotels. And then make sure that you have enabled hosted layers for ArcGIS Online for your units, people, and areas table. And then for enterprise geodatabases, set up for branch versioning for those indoors layers as well if you're going to do enterprise. And then finally, update your enterprise and ArcGIS Online for indoors releases to the latest versions.
Awesome, thanks, Andy. And another one we had come in was, is the reservation system a built-in feature of indoors?
Great question.
Is the reservation system a built-in feature? Okay, so that sounds like, and this is something that we can, of course, clarify. one-on-one conversation, but that sounds like it's kind of getting at what's coming soon with indoors, which is the information model to support workspace reservations, which won't require any integration with any other systems. So what we showed a lot of here today is integration with Office 365 to support this, just because there are so many organizations that are leveraging that. But for those who aren't, there is a solution coming here very soon. And so if that's kind of what you're getting at, let us know and we could actually follow up with you and kind of show you what that looks like and get your feedback.
Awesome, thanks, Bo. Another question, maybe for Andy, what can we look for in our CAD floor plans to determine if our data is in good condition?
A great question, Sylvia. Thanks for telling me that one, because that one's actually probably the most important one, is to make sure you actually have the data necessary for indoors. And those types of sources are Revit currently and CAD data. And for data preparation, you need to make sure your CAD data is topologically and geometrically clean. Specifically, make sure the data polylines have no overshoots or undershoots. And then also make sure your doors are closed and connected to the interior and exterior walls within your CAD floor plans. I think also, additionally, to add on to that, ensure your CAD layers have 2 separate annotation layers for specifically room use types to designate what the space type is, and then unique identifiers to enable those identifications of the rooms. When I was doing a quick search for each room or for a person or for a place, you want to be able to have those unique identifiers to actually target the specific location when you're doing quick searches. And then finally, make sure your naming conventions for the CAD layers are aligned. I think this is really important. A lot of users sometimes forget this, is that when they draw out polylines for a specific floor plan, they need to be correlated to the actual CAD layer itself. So making sure that those two are correlated when you're doing the data modeling is going to be really important.
Awesome, thanks, Andy. Yeah, definitely an important question. I think we can maybe do one more. And that is maybe a little bit easier one. People want to know, what do we need to get started with indoors? Do we need ArcGIS Enterprise and Pro or any other Esri products?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question and something we're always helping people out with. So indoors is a suite of products all bundled together so that when you buy indoors, you get all of the ArcGIS that you need to actually use it. So you will get an ArcGIS Enterprise Advanced instance. You will get Pro users, all with the indoors licensing enabled in order to create and curate your indoor maps in Pro, to host and serve your indoor maps and routing networks and other indoor data layers to your various applications. You'll get the web templates or the application templates. So we have a couple templates for the web app, the space planner, the mobile, that all come with indoors as well. So that's kind of the product that you need to get started. Then, of course, you need data, and as Andy mentioned, that data is typically CAD and comes in a variety of states. So one of the things that we'll typically offer folks is just a quick data evaluation to let them know, what would have to be brought up to standards on their CAD drawings to get it into the model easily, or sometimes they don't even have any data, and so we're referencing them out to partners like Tririga or Trimble and Indoor View and R&K Solutions that have scanning services where they'll go in and actually scan the facilities and create as-is models of the facilities. And oftentimes they're also offering complementary services to automatically load that data into the indoors model to kind of jumpstart your implementation. So there are some things that are required, but data and the software are the two biggest pieces. And If you're looking to get started, by all means, please feel free to reach out to us and set up a follow-up conversation, and or just check that you want to meet with us, and we will follow up with you.
Right, thanks, Bo. So we have a lot of other questions, but I think we're already at the end of our webinar. So like you said, I think for the other questions, you're going to follow up on those individually.
Yes, we will be following up with you depending on when you marked that you would like our follow-up. And so with that, I guess thank you all so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all again in the future.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys later.
Thank you.